Okay, we are rolling.
We are.
And today we have a special guest. I don't know if he wants to use an alias.
If he wants to use his own name, because your name is like, it's hard to track you down.
Is it?
It could be Bill Clinton.
It could be Bill Clinton. It could be Clinton Bill.
It could be Clinton. Bill Clinton.
Yeah, like the Rose Coco, the ones we were talking about the other day.
Bill Clitoris.
So, Bill Clitoris, say hi.
Bill Clitoris is a really nice name.
I would put that on a t-shirt for sure. I would put that on a t-shirt.
But I
Bill
like the
Clitoris.
word Bill Clinton, the name Bill Clinton. I think that one is the best for me.
Do you like Monica Lewinsky too?
Everybody does. I feel like as a successful man, if you don't have a Monica Lewinsky, you're not
In
successful.
your life.
Like, how is it marrying?
It's kind of pernicious as fuck though, because it implies that every successful man must cheat at least once in his life.
I mean, shouldn't they? Isn't cheating one of the things that makes you successful? No, I'm saying put it close to your face because you're recording.
Right. No,
We're doing something different today. Yeah.
Cheating is one of the things that make you successful. You,
Yeah.
sir, do not seem to believe in ethical capitalism.
Ethical capitalism. I mean, I feel like
ethically acquired.
there's a lot of stress that comes with climbing your way to the top. So eventually you have to climb someone else's wife as you climb your way to the top.
As you climb your-
Because it's like a de-stressing thing. It's a thing that shows you the power is worth it. Because a lot of people want power because they feel like
Okay.
I don't know, they
yeah.
can.
So you don't think anyone can ever earn their wealth in an ethical manner?
No, I think they can.
You must throw a few people under the bus to
But
get there.
it will be very difficult because looking at people who really climb the ladder to the top, most of the time they have to do something illegal. They have to step on people's toes, on people's backs for them to reach there. I don't think it's really very easy to be ethically rich. For you to be rich, sometimes you have to step on so many toes for you to be rich.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute, and I'm gonna say because like I don't know if you know Naval Ravikant
I don't know.
on Twitter. I've showed you this guy.
I've seen him a couple of times. You mentioned it to him.
Yeah,
you mentioned him to me a couple of
there's
times.
a YouTube video where he gets interviewed by Joe Rogan, but like the whole idea, like he has a pinned tweet that has gone viral or went viral back then. It's like how to get rich without getting lucky. That's literally the title of the tweet. And one of the things he mentions in the tweet is that it's possible to be ethically wealthy because ultimately all it boils down to is have specific knowledge about something that people want. People want a lot of shit and sometimes they don't even know it. As long as you can provide it, people will be willing to pay you for it. So if you realize, for example, people want to watch movies on demand, you make a service, you charge them a subscription, and voila, you have Netflix. And
Well, why did you go with Netflix? I thought you were going to say X-Hamster or something like that. Same
X-Hamster
example.
is like a very particular kind of movie.
Why
Netflix
hamster,
is a
though?
lot in general, in terms of genres,
I wonder-
because X-Hamster is just porn.
I don't know why they call it X-Hamster.
It's because of, I don't know where the hamster.
For those of you who don't
I
know
was
what...
gonna give a reason and I realized I don't know jack shit.
For
I
those
know
of
where
you
the
who don't
hamster
know
comes from.
what X-Hamster is, it's a project in Silicon Valley that was started
Where they get a hamster to fucking control a smartphone.
and do X-rated
this
stuff.
shit up.
But a lot of people tend to believe that the rich don't get this, genuinely or ethically. That's why there's been this whole clamor about the submarine story, where most people are making fun of it despite it being a sad story.
That's something that I really wanted to touch on because for such a grim situation, a bunch of billionaires in a submersible somewhat demising, meeting their demise. I know there's no such word.
Well, you said demising? Demising, I bet you demising has been used in a Nigerian music video.
I will demise you!
No, guys, I like the way you demise.
Yeah, but like for such a sad story, there's a lot of comedy circulating about it.
A lot of comedy and a lot of
it seems
conspiracy.
to imply general hate
Towards the rich.
for the rich. Exactly.
Because these guys were rich, right? I saw there was an Indian billionaire. Most of them were billionaires. Or was that just one billionaire?
No, all of them were billionaires. Well, one of them wasn't a billionaire, but then one of them was a billionaire's son, and he was with his father and the submersible.
Technically, he was just an ordinary guy with a rich dad.
Technically, but like a
He
lot
shouldn't
has
be
been
mentioned.
said about this. A lot, and if you go online, you will find a bunch of information out there.
Conspiracy
about-
theories.
Not even that, like details of how exactly the submersible might have imploded or how exactly these people might have died. One angle that people aren't exploring, which Trevor so generously provided us with, is that it's quite possible the media lied about the whole thing.
Lied about them being dead?
Exactly. So what happens is Trevor is saying the U.S. Coast Guard knew by Monday, that is this past Monday.
Wait, that's according to who?
I believe it's borne out by like evidence online.
Okay.
He just
Twitter,
didn't happen
basically.
to provide it, but I'm pretty sure it's something that you can Google. But the U.S. Coast Guard knew by Monday that the submarine had exploded or imploded, and they heard the explosion, and so. Basically, President Biden and the media were notified on the same day, but they chose to hide it. And what angle Trevor is going for is that
was more
there
of a
were a
cover-up.
lot of other news items happening at the same time, but the media chose to amplify this particular news item in order to misdirect our attention.
Yeah,
right?
so some things about Russia.
Right, exactly. So every day the media had a different story about the submarine to keep everyone glued to their screens. Either it was it increased viewership. Either it was on Monday it was the sub disappeared. On Tuesday they said that there were loud bangs being heard, and on Wednesday they talked about how faulty the submarine had been, because there's news online about how like there had been a fault discovered in the submarine before it went down, but then the CEO had insisted that it go down anyway. And then on Thursday it was all about oxygen and how they were going to run out of oxygen. And eventually we heard the sad news that they'd all died sometime around Thursday.
It's like a whole movie.
So that's why no one trusts the media anymore, because it's all about profit, not the truth. Apparently, with people occupied with the sub, no one was paying attention to other things that happened. For example, you remember Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's
Yeah,
son,
Joe, but it's on the drug addict.
was being indicted for a scandal involving the Ukraine and how much money was invested in Ukraine, like armaments companies. So his case was concluded. And he
Because the U.S. isn't supposed to be involved in that.
he
is it?
settled for a guilty plea deal where he was supposed to get like I believe he had to pay like a certain kind of fine, but he would be like acquitted if he pleaded guilty. On the same day, J.P. Morgan was forced to pay $290 million for associating with Epstein. Remember Epstein, the guy who used to molest kids?
Yeah,
Exactly.
every Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. And in the scandal, J.P. Morgan was found guilty of deleting a whopping 47 million emails in
He used-
regards to Epstein.
He used
right?
to talk about child molesting on an email.
Exactly.
44,000?
Yeah.
What were they talking about? Were they giving details?
I mean, Epstein is known to have hosted some high-profile people on
Ooh-wee.
his island, where like a lot of children were involved, including royals across the world and the British royal family.
I bet you if there's any pedophiles, they must be in the royal family.
Exactly. And then another thing, which is even bigger, and I don't know why it never got featured as much, is that there was a coup in Russia. Basically, the coup
Was
was,
that really a coup?
instigated by the Wagner Group.
The Wagner
And
Group
the
is
leader-
some
yeah.
paramilitary group that Russia uses to
Yeah.
get involved in different conflicts around the world.
Exactly.
Most
The
people don't know
leader-
about it.
The leader is Yevgeny Prigozhin, and what happened is that the
He used to be Putin's chef.
yeah, the premise behind the coup is that he felt betrayed that his guys were not getting enough ammunition. Remember, Russia is in an ongoing war with the Ukraine, and this led to death and casualties. And he marched with 25,000 men to confront Putin. Now, Putin released a statement talking about betrayal and treason, but doesn't mention names when he announces the coup. And then less than 24 hours later, the coup is over and everyone is happy. Now, the thing is, in the same period of time, the Pentagon in the United States lost $6 billion in a supposed accounting error.
Lost in quotes.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Just before 9/11, remember the September 2011 attacks? 9/11, the September 11, 2001 attacks. Remember those?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. A similar error was experienced by the Pentagon a day before 9/11. On September 10th, 2001, Secretary of Defense Ronald Rumsfeld declared war on the Pentagon bureaucracy over an alleged $2.3 trillion in unaccounted for funds on expenses. The next day, 9/11 happened, and the previous day's headlines were overshadowed by the start of the Bush administration's modern-day crusade, the War on Terror, supported by the mythical coalition of the willing in search of weapons of mass destruction and Taliban fighters. The $2.3 trillion was later quietly found, quote-unquote, to have just been a computer error. There is no evidence to suggest that the Pentagon lost trillions before 9/11. Every time the key military body in the United States is found in some kind of scandal, some sensational news is generated the next day that redirects our attention away from whatever is happening in the Pentagon.
But here's my argument. I mean, that's just a bunch of billionaires who died in a submarine. Why was that important? They could have used any other news story that seemed more pertinent.
It may not be important, but it certainly generated attention. Because guess what? A lot of people like to bring up the fact that similarly migrants to the United States were lost.
They lost it at sea or something, yeah.
Died. But that doesn't
around the same
generate
time
nearly as much attention in the media as say the story of 6 billionaires dying. Why? Because on the one hand, sure, everyone doesn't give a fuck that a bunch of billionaires died. But guess
most
what?
people don't. It
Everyone's
seems
talking
like
about it, and everyone's making memes about it. Our attention is redirected away from whatever other important news might be airing right now.
the memes have been crazy. We should show some of them on the.
I
There's one I
know!
saw about something
Like
about Asia Nasanya and Babuna Mwamba. I think we've mentioned it 3 times in a row in the last couple of episodes.
I don't know, what's Clinton's opinion? I feel like we've really not included Clinton in this whole conversation.
On the issue of ASEAN or on the issue of
On both.
billionaires?
Maybe they're connected. Asia and billionaires.
Maybe the issue of the billionaires, because I tend to think that those people who brought about divisions, you see, these divisions in social classes, the rich versus the poor, the dynasty versus the suffering, see, all those things that were brought, especially by the Jews, I think, they brought that thing to America to create division so that they can control the people easily. So that really made people to incline towards the side of hating the billionaires, because there's some sort of billionaires billionaires colluding with the government to use the citizen taxes to at least enjoy life or invest in businesses and all this. That's why I say sometimes problems brought by the Jews, these social classes, gender classes, all these things, they really contribute to the media psyop.
I think it's true, but also more importantly, I think that what happened here is simply that, and I think it's worth considering as a conspiracy theory. There are the powers that be, and every time there is something implicating
the powers that be gay.
The powers that be gay. All the powers that be gay.
The LGBTQ. Those are the powers that be gay.
Like we're kind of foreshadowing the topic on Netflix not showing LGBTQ movies anymore because they got into an agreement with Kenya.
Yeah.
But like we know that it was like the powers that be gay.
The powers that be gay, the LGBT plus.
Make it so
LGTV community.
Every time there is a piece of news, a news item that implicates the establishment, and they do not want the people to be aware of it and therefore rise against it, they will find a way to misdirect our attention. Whether it is some kind of major scandal, or like a disaster happening, or like the coronavirus. People also say the coronavirus may have been a psychological operation to like redirect our attention.
It is. I think it is, because let me tell you, let me ask you. If, for example, there is a pandemic, a pandemic, you need not to be told by the TV that there is a pandemic.
You should see it right next to you.
Right next to you.
Is someone dying, coughing? Like,
yeah.
But you probably think they have AIDS in Kenya.
Yeah.
Right.
People always assume it's AIDS.
So that's ballooning of the problem by the media is what make people
an undue exaggeration. Hyperbole. I think that's the English word.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you overstate, like it's a hyperbole. It's the opposite of an understatement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like Trevor was like giving a few points to show that maybe the whole Russian coup thing might have also been some form of redirection. So
I don't think it's entirely. I mean, it is somewhat plausible because, first of all, there's people with a lot of money. Me personally, I thought it could be like if I was to entertain any conspiracy theories, I thought the billionaires might have wanted to fake their own death, and they have the means and the resources to make it go public, make it go viral. Because these are people. Imagine the life of a billionaire. This is a bit of an offshoot, but imagine the life of a billionaire. How stressful it is. Running a giant company, there's a lot of big decisions. You never know the anxiety that comes with that. So, what if they want to just disappear, get out of the public eye? They have the means to do that.
Conspiracy theories around that, like they staged their own deaths.
That's a pretty expensive way to stage your own death, but a nice way to die as well.
$250,000.
You're gonna go down in history as someone who was trying to, I don't know,
break new
frontiers. Exactly. Even though you're still alive, and you can enjoy your money in peace. Maybe it could be a tax issue they had.
Brings me to an important discussion. I just like to segue really quick because I think this is worth debating. Do you think billionaires are justified to be compensated the way they are compensated. So, for example, one of the popular arguments going out there is that, hey, a CEO is paid, I don't know, 600 times or whatever the fuck, what a janitor is paid in the same company.
Yeah.
Is it fair considering the burden of each of their occupations?
I think it's fair. It's more about.
Could you just really pause really quick?
Well, we'd have to pause it at the synchronized pausing.
Yeah.
And we are recording again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're recording again. So these topics are very serious today.
Got cut off.
Yeah, and there's weed somewhere in someone's system or some people's system.
There is a weed.
There's a weed in all of us. A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
Anyway, like what I was trying to say is Trevor did come up with some interesting theories. Like, for example, it says that the CIA, remember the Wagner Group is the group that instigated the coup in Russia? The CIA may have tried to buy the Wagner Group to stage a coup, as it is done in many other countries. Because remember, this comes off of the back of $6 billion found missing. And, as far as the CIA's accounting goes, it was like golden accounting errors. So, like, this may be a way to cover that up. Also, Putin has been recorded in the past saying...
He's been putting in those statements.
Yeah, exactly. He may have been in on the whole thing and got an additional $6 billion for weapons. But like he said many times in the past, the thing he can't forgive is betrayal. And the Wagner Group was like an internal group that he controlled, like loyal soldiers were involved. So why would he let the Wagner Group walk if they were actually rebelling? And also the Russian army was not called back from the Ukraine when all of this started. They continued bombing Ukraine as usual.
But a lot of people don't even know much about the Wagner Group. I think we should tell them a bit more. So it's set up by Russia, and it's very war... Why is Russia and the US? Why are they both so war-minded? Anyways, that's a story. That's a topic for another time, I guess.
That's an interesting topic. But it needs further consideration.
So Wagner was started with the simple aim of just interfering or quote-unquote intervening in international conflicts for the benefit of Russia.
Like an SAS, but for Russia.
But for the benefit of Russia.
Not really, but I think Wagner Group was formed majorly to hide government operations. Because when you see this Wagner Group, most of the time when they go somewhere, they never leave the Russian footprint. They go there as private soldiers.
They're independent.
It's an independent, let me say, like a company.
Quote unquote, yeah.
Private company.
It's a private military.
Yes. Owned by
It's like the Navy SEALs. You know, the way they would be.
But the Navy SEALs have a badge though. Wagner is supposed to be secret.
When they go to kill Osama bin Laden or something, they're doing this undercover, and you're like, I mean, we have cases where like some elitist unit of the U.S. Army is tasked with going to start a coup or kill a leader, but you shouldn't be able to track them back to the United States. So if they die with their identities and whatnot. But if they succeed, nobody's ever going to know them and sing about them because it was all in service of the country and it's kept hush-hush. That's the idea, right?
Why is military power so looked down upon? Because if you think about it, the big superpowers of the world are all military powers. The US and Russia, they spend heavily on their military and their war systems.
Exactly. You have to be a military power to achieve any kind of superpower status.
But I wonder why, because America has never really gone to war with, apart from like the ones that they go and look out for.
But America has one huge jewel in its crown that has seriously assisted its position as world power. And that is that it dropped the two first and probably only instances ever of atomic bombs on Japan in the 1945 World War II, right? As soon as they did that, they established military superiority, and that's why part of the reason why the United States has been such a revered superpower in the world up until now. It's about nuclear superiority and having nuclear arms and whatnot.
Yeah.
As soon as you devastate Hiroshima and Nagasaki to that extent, people are going to be afraid of you. That's the United States' legacy up until this day.
It's quite interesting.
Another thing that they said is that another theory is that there might have been a stalemate in the war, like between Russia and the Ukraine, right? So, like the trenches in World War One. Remember, World War One had like a lot of trench warfare.
Yeah.
Where they dig trenches and then nobody wants to cross over. It's just like there's a no man's land in between, and there's like a stalemate because none of them wants to cross over it. And basically, both sides hid in trenches without fighting. So the Wagner group retreats on purpose, and the Ukraine army starts coming forward to gain more ground, thus exposing their position. So this is like talking about like war tactics. Another thing that is to be mentioned here is that everybody was getting their news from Twitter. So after traditional media,
The fake news or the real news?
the real news, you always get the real news from Twitter. You never get the real news from traditional media. The idea here is that traditional media had been lying for a whole week about the submarine story, right? And then independent media were updating people on Twitter the whole day about what was happening in Russia, the Hunter Biden story, and so on and so forth.
But you really have to take
story about the kids found in a building in New York with like a dead trans woman and a bunch of condoms.
What was that about? Wait, a bunch of condoms?
Yes,
Kids.
basically a bunch of kids.
Wait. Oh, you said condos.
Condoms.
What? So there was a dead. Let's do the maths. So there were
was a
children.
dead
First of all, there were multiple
A
children.
bunch of condoms and a bunch of kids found
So
in...
the children were supposed to fuck the transgender person.
Or
Because
vice versa.
because no, the transgender
person
has
was
one
supposed
dick
to fuck.
or two. Who knows how many transgenders? How many dicks does a transgender?
I mean, if
have?
you have like a bunch of kids tied down, you can just like fuck them one by one.
But do you need that many condoms?
Yeah.
It was
one
the
condom
kids who
per
were
child.
supposed to fuck the transgender,
I mean, if you were fucking...
and maybe they
one-
did.
one
They fucked her
woman.
till they died. How did the transgender woman die? This is such a weird story.
I don't know.
But
Maybe she died of something unrelated to fucking. I don't know why we were assuming.
There are so
she
many
died of
things
sexual
unrelated to fucking,
exhaustion or
actually.
something.
But
Why are we saying she?
My question is why are we so why are we having so many people that are turning trans, lesbian, and all those later social group, the LGBTQ?
Right.
Why do we have all this, and who benefits in all this shenanigans that happen in America?
People who love letters benefit because they have LGBTQIA plus. It's
I
like
think
a
it's an important question.
it's like a
because,
premium membership.
Like,
Plus.
no, and this might be like foreshadowing and all that, but we did talk about like Netflix not showing LGBTQ movies.
Gay
because
flicks.
it's- But like, here's the thing: on Netflix, almost in every movie or series, there is a token gay couple
Yeah.
that's gonna show up. There is a general agenda in popular media to push the idea that homosexual couples, whether male or female, are mainstream.
Having that
There is definitely some kind of a scheme to make us believe this shit is okay.
no, but it's part of the formula. Having that token gay person is almost like a prerequisite nowadays because otherwise
But
people are
if you
underrepresented
may-
in
if
quotes.
you may ask, why is this? Where is this?
I mean, I don't
all?
see an agenda to overrepresent left-handed people. It's like a standard 7% of the people in the world are left-handed.
But does that
Which
that's
I
not
guess
significant.
Is probably the same statistic for like gay people as well. Like
I think the thing
7% of
with-
people in the world are truly gay. Because the question is,
Wait, so the other one, the
why
fake
aren't
gays?
we seeing an overabundance of left-handed people being exalted on mainstream?
The thing
media?
is,
we're seeing gay people being
That doesn't have as much shock value. Men kissing on the streets. Oh my God, society is gonna be up in arms. People using their left hand. Oh my God, that's such a big deal.
Right.
I mean, some people are right-handed, but they use their left hand to jerk off.
But you see, I don't think
So,
the thing is about shock value.
it's not
because
that
it's not
foreign.
about like wowing us. I think the thing is about brainwash.
No, the thing is, I'm saying
it's about
that's why.
making us think this is normal. So the next time you're going out on the streets and you see a gay couple, because you've seen it in so many series and movies, you think this is okay.
I
And therefore
would
there's a
tend to
higher
believe
acceptance
that
of gay
it's
couples.
because probably there's a lot of gay people in power who want to come out, so they want to make the world okay with them coming out. So it might just be that there's a lot of closeted homosexuals and transsexuals and all those other flags that we saw.
Do you
There's
think
fairly
they would
bare.
have as much power though? Do you think that the gay people, you know the way they say like Jews have so much influence in the government? Do you think that gay people have equal value? I don't think all the gay people in the world
Or in the government.
hands. Yeah, I don't
Mike,
think if they
Mike.
held hands, they'd have as much influence in the world. I don't think this
The
is
handshake.
about like making gayism okay, as much as it is about redirecting our attention
Wait.
and dividing us further. But also, and I've heard this a lot of times before, people saying that in terms of like destroying the family unit and depopulating Africa, and that's a really far-fetched conspiracy theory, but like
No, I mean,
promoting
it's
the
like, it is
LGBTQ
viable.
agenda in Africa is going to help with that.
I mean, it is viable.
Possible, because if you get men marrying men, women marrying women, of course there will be no further generations apart from the two. So in
Right.
90 years or 20 or 50 years, we don't have any other person in the next generation, and the people don't have the heirs.
Right.
But what you need to know is that this depopulation, climate change, and blaming of the Jews,
Right.
all these stuffs, they really have an origin which is I think 1940s or 1910s, when the banking system of America
Someone's playing Mugidi in the background.
was
Mugidi country music. I don't know what that was.
Guys, for anyone listening to this, I just want y'all to know that before this recording, we had a whole session where we listened to some of the most random
From different
obscure
parts of
music
Africa.
From different parts of Africa, and then somehow we like got into a rabbit hole where we listened to some old school bongo.
It was a very deep rabbit hole.
It's a very deep.
Very well lubricated. Fuck. Lubricated.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say it in those many words.
Anyway, you were saying, Clinton.
I was speaking about the issue of depopulation, because when you see somebody sitting down and thinking of, oh, we need to depopulate the world, what is the reason behind that?
They don't like seeing black
What is
people.
the reason?
What is the reason behind it? Because when you see somebody like, let me say, the chairman of the WF, Klaus Schwab,
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab, always giving lectures on how to reduce the population every time, every day. They sing these things to the citizens' ears, and they think it's normal. They come with climate change and all this stuff. All this reason, all this.
And there's a whole debate around whether
yes,
climate change is even real or not.
because well, look at the definition of climate. Daily weather changes over 30 or 40 years. So after 40 years,
So climate change is a tautology.
We expect the climate will be different.
That's an interesting angle I've never heard.
Yeah,
Like your very definition of climate change is faulty because
It's a tautology.
climates are expected to change.
It's a tautology.
So why would you say climate change is a problem?
There's nothing bad with climate change. And
Right.
of course, what we know, if oil is comes natural from the ground, even if we use oil, there are very few statistics that say that use of CO2's emissions or whatever causes climate change. Very few studies have shown truthfully that climate change is caused by this carbon emission. So all these things called climate change and all this net zero economy or net zero something.
Net zero countries.
All these things are
Net zero
inclined towards the population, because you see.
So I was thinking something random, just to interrupt there, because you talked about fossil fuels and fuels coming from the ground.
Right.
I wonder if they'll ever be able to use the fat from BBLs, the big Brazilian butt lifts, because that's fat, right? They should probably use it as energy.
Brazilian butler.
Because you remember we talked about
What
this.
the fuck, bro?
No, I was talking about energy sources because
You
they.
took this so far away. We were trying to be serious.
We'll get there.
for a
We'll
quick
get there.
moment.
No, but I'm just saying we talked about how archaeologists in the future might discover some of our skeletons in our bodies, and they'll find people with abnormally large
Electricity
butts.
generated.
Yeah, I mean that's done. That's actually being done.
Let's use
It's biomass energy.
recurring
Yeah,
fuel.
biomass energy is such a good term for using shit for power.
What was the word?
Biomass energy. That's what they call it. I think it comes from biomass. Call your shit. Yeah, anyways, so imagine the archaeologist finds skeletons or remains of people with BBLs. Would be like they used to have energy sources in their bums, so they could propel themselves forward.
How will they know that this is BBL?
Why did we evolve?
Because it's an energy
Can
source.
I tell you something weird? Biologically.
Biologically. BBL.
Brazilian biologically.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something weird? Every freaking animal out there, every ape actually, has no butt
butt.
cheeks are not substantial.
Yeah.
Baboons, chimps, bonobos, you name it. Why? Because
They have
here's
tiny
the thing
butts.
about taking a shit in the wild.
Yeah, here's one thing about taking shit.
Yeah, is that when you're shitting,
Just one.
first of all, anatomically speaking, having huge glutes makes it really hard to shake your asshole.
What?
So, like,
What you did?
no, listen, hear me out.
Wait.
This is like when you take a shit. You know how animals clean their shit up? They take a shit and then they, do the whole shake and then the shit gets off because
shakes
there's no
McKenna.
glutes in the way to obstruct the shit falling off.
This is so
But, like, we have
graphic.
glutes literally
This is so
growing
graphic.
around our anus. So like when you take a shit, even when you sit on the toilet, your butt cheeks have to be apart for you to take a shit.
is
And then you have to wipe yourself. A baboon doesn't
What
have to
the
deal
fuck
with
is
that
this?
because there are no butt cheeks impeding the flow of the good stuff. So when you shit, shake their butt, and then they walk away. But humans are the only apes out there with substantial glutes. Right? Where like you take a shit and like my butt is just like fucking like buns. They're just together.
Okay.
And then move on.
All right. So BBL's for energy, because
I'm just saying humans are unique. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Compared to other apes.
There were so many more ways you could have said that without having to use the words. My cheeks are like buns.
And then
in that order.
Here's the other thing, right? Buns. Glutes play such
Buttocks.
an integral role in sexual attraction for humans.
I wonder why
that
though.
You don't see in other apes.
Why is it?
Like you don't see chimps going like, oh my gosh, she has a great ass.
Why do we like
but
big
in
butts?
humans, we're so fascinated by glutes. Like literally, bro, this is like the sewage system.
Well, it's not really.
Body.
It's just cheeks.
Why are you sexually attracted to it?
I think it's more about the flesh. It's not just the ass, right? There's
It's
also
the fact
there's
that
also
it's
boobs
a signal.
because they're round,
It's a signal
voluptuous.
for like fertility.
Having a big
and
butt is a signal of
childbearing
fertility?
Like the way a woman with a wide hips is sexually attractive.
But those are hips.
Because wide hips allow you to better. Yeah, but like you can't.
Fat ass is not going to do anything for birth.
You can't have a substantial butt without indicating that you have a substantial womb. It's like a marker.
So a big butt means you have a big womb.
You have like a wide womb. You have a substantial butt means like your pelvic floor is like
it can support
wide.
all that weight.
Exactly. So your womb has more space. So you're better able to bear a child,
This is
or
the
twins or triplets or whatever, than a woman who has like
Small
straight
ass.
hips and a small butt, right?
So if you want
like,
twins, go for the big butt.
I mean, that's what's happening undercover in the male mind, but like
shit.
outwardly, it's like, oh my gosh, she's so sexy. She has.
You don't even know why you like it.
Internally, you're doing the whole calculation.
You're
like,
seeing
she's
twins.
better at childbearing than the next woman. That's what's making you attracted to her.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, so back to. Yeah, that. I'm sorry, guys. I pulled us so far
blew
away.
your minds away.
I pulled us
dumbfounded, y'all.
But then at the same time, I was trying to reel
You
us
know
back.
what?
I don't even know where this came from.
No, but we were talking about like I think he was talking about something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Something was coming from him.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Okay, so as I was saying, all these agendas aimed at depopulation, I think they all point to one link, which is control. Because once you depopulate, controlling 3 people is easier than controlling 100 people. So if they depopulate the world, they can control us better in small gulags. The way they do in China, you get a building with 4,000 people in one building. They have everything. Even people don't need to go to work outside the building. This is a gulag that was in Auschwitz. Yeah.
I have a not so popular opinion though. I think the reason they might want to depopulate Africa is because, to be fairly honest, Africa is a burden on so many countries. Because
it's a burden.
Yes, like it's an economic burden. So the more people there are, the more of a bigger burden it
such
becomes.
an educated insult.
It is because
Africa, you are an economic.
you're an economic.
Is it a burden though?
No, but here's the thing: we have so much foreign debt.
Populate you.
There are burdens, but the burdenhood
I'm
is
so
created.
offended. Anyway,
Burdenhood is created by the West. You understand? You can't say Africa is a burden because if you remove all these isms,
Africa used to be a
like
cash cow.
capitalism.
But that's the thing. People want to take advantage, and the only way they can do that is if they give foreign aid. So they still have to have, they reluctantly have a relationship with Africa, a relationship of dependency.
But at least Africa owes them a bunch of money.
Exactly. But
it's not going to pay back if you don't.
if the political situation is a mess, then it's likely going to affect their investments within Africa. So they try and keep everybody together, keep the monkeys in the zoo.
Right.
So that's why they would want to depopulate or at least reduce the growth of Africa, because it's a bigger burden. It's like growing your family every single time, even though you can only afford 2
I have
kids.
a question for you, Clinton. Do you think there's a racial angle to the push to depopulate Africa?
I think there is, because when you see who are the people pushing this agenda of depopulation, they're the Jews, the ones who control the banking system. You understand?
Right.
So once the Jews, you see, there was a book I think written by a Russian called Solzhenitsyn, name like that, and he was talking about the agenda of the Zionists, the Zionists of the Jews. Their main aim,
Zionists,
under their inferiority complex, they were a little population, and they said, no, we can't be this. And according to our Torah, it is written that we are supposed to rule the world. The Jews to rule the world. Yeah. So let's rule it. Despite our small population, let us forge forward together and
Divide and
rule
conquer.
over. So what they did, because you see they had really infiltrated the banking system of the Western Europe, Eastern Europe. So those bankers were the people who were supposed to help them in their agenda, the depopulation agenda. So they depopulate the Gentiles, who are were the Europeans, and as themselves, the population grow. You see, once you are the majority in population, ruling the rest is easy. I think that's
pretty easy.
That's the angle I will try to look at when it comes to the issue to deal with racism in this depopulation agenda.
But why
So
would
once
Jews want Africans dead? They seem to hate everyone.
you see, I think
why do they
it's,
have a particular hate
it's,
to
it's
Africans?
it's just hatred. You see, it's like the way you hate a robber. I think it's the way they hate other races. You understand? Because they say, look at this person and he looks like the way you see sometimes our Muslim our Muslim brothers talk about kafiri.
Right,
He looks
yeah,
like
kafir.
a dirty person. You
Yeah.
see, something like that. The way Jews see the Gentiles, and the Gentiles they refer to the Christians or the people of Western Europe. So I think their main agenda topple the entire population and they take over so that they can have I think in the Torah they are being told that they will have 2,000 slaves each after they take over the world from the Gentiles. Yeah.
That is
I
such
think
a
it is-
weird thing.
What is up with people
Yo,
and
bro,
slaves?
2,000 niggas.
Like slaves and virgins and all that, like all these 72 virgins, 2,000 slaves. Why can't it be 2,000 friends?
What are you gonna
What
do?
the fuck is happening in heaven that you need to torture people?
Why do you need to fuck 72 virgins?
And how is that the
What the fuck are you? A porn?
that's the high point of your life? You go to heaven so you can do that shit?
So I can fuck 72 virgins.
You can't do it on earth.
I worked for this shit.
You can't do
I
it on
helped
earth.
my neighbor for this shit.
You can't do it on earth. You can't have slaves on earth. But when you go to heaven, oh,
if I
you
give
just
the
wait.
poor money and I didn't kill and I didn't steal, so I can fuck 72 virgins when I go to heaven. It's such a weird motivation.
There was an
to have.
interesting argument about the 72 virgins. You need 72 exactly because it takes 72 women to have the experience of one woman who's not a virgin.
We had that. I remember that. It's like, because like one experienced woman is equivalent to 72 virgins.
But what the fuck are those? Why 72 virgins? How many virgins are there in heaven?
Numbers, like what's 72?
And do they stop being valuable? They stop being valuable once they're no longer
like
virgins.
42. You know how 42 is touted online as the answer to life, the universe, and everything?
Yeah,
The number 42 pops up a lot.
yeah.
Was the thing?
So does
is,
69
It
actually.
all comes, I mean, of course, but
Yeah.
then, 69, 42, 420. It's like
Yeah.
the number 42
Nice.
is a lot more prominent, right? So the thing is this book written by Douglas Adams, a very funny British author, and the weed I'm not smoking has run out of fire, so you can light it up. So like, it's called
Wow.
The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's about like a random human being.
If I was a hitchhiker, I would buy that book.
Right, yeah.
Because-
It's so funny because he has the Random Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is an actual like tablet or book.
Yeah,
that
I've heard of
guides
it.
you
Yeah.
to the galaxy. One of the things it tells you is, like, it's written in huge words on the covers, like, do not panic. That's the number one rule when you are exploring the universe. Do not panic. You get it?
Yeah.
And one other thing is that as a hitchhiker to the galaxy, you should always carry a towel because towels are so fucking useful. You can
You
wipe
might get
yourself
wet.
when you're sweating. It might help you hang from a building. It might help you escape. You can use it as an impromptu rope.
If
It has
you-
the weirdest ideas. But it's like, anyway, the idea behind 42 is that the story is that a bunch of people, like a very advanced alien race, decided to build a piece of AI to help them answer the question to life, the universe, and everything. So they built a huge supercomputer, and it took them like 10 billion years to build it, right? And the whole idea was that this supercomputer was supposed to figure out the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And they built it, it did the whole processing, and then on the day when we were supposed to reveal the answer, all of the aliens came in like a huge assembly, and they wanted to hear this shit like a whole parade. And then they were like, okay, so supercomputer, what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And then the supercomputer blurts out 42. And you're like, that took them back. Like, what do you mean 42? Like, what does that mean? And then the computer is like, well, you asked me to figure out the answer to life, the universe, and everything. You didn't ask what the question was.
That's kind of stupid.
like-
Like, it came up with an answer still. It's a very snarky answer. I would be
No,
like,
but then
fuck
what's
your
the
computer.
question? Is it,
I would hold a public ritual
is
to
it
burn that
what's
computer.
6 times 7? Or, for example, how many Indians does it take to change a light bulb or something? Like,
How many
like
Indians does
42
it
is
take
an
to
answer,
change a
but what's
light
the
bulb?
fucking question?
Why?
How many possible answers can 42 be the answer? How many possible questions can 42 be the answer to?
How many tribes are there in Kenya?
How many
It's
tribes
not
are there in
42.
Kenya?
It's not 42 though. So it doesn't
it's
work.
a lot larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how they said
42.3.
there are like 60 ethnic tribes in.
Wait. It's gone
And
to
I
60
think
now?
all Sudanese are the same.
What the hell?
No, I mean.
Do you want to elaborate? Yeah, because they're human.
Figuratively.
They're human, right?
Like when you meet like a Sudanese in Kenya, you're like, are you from the Dinka tribe? Like nobody cares.
That's the
They're
ones we meet.
Sudanese.
That's the ones we meet in
But they're
Kenya.
like, there's such diversity among the Sudanese.
Well, maybe there is.
They don't even speak the same languages.
Yeah.
It's like how people think the Luya are a tribe. You know, that's
But they do look
bullshit.
the same, though.
There's the Maragoli, there's the Wanga. There's so many Luya tribes, and their languages, while mutually intelligible, are not entirely similar.
But most
Well,
Sudanese
maybe
people,
Mijikenda,
most
like,
Sudanese people look
which
the
one
same
of
though.
The Mijikenda, like the Miji is like Kenda is like 9 tribes because Mji is village.
Mm.
So Giriama, Sijui, Wachogo, Wanais, all those are Mijikendas.
Wananis?
They all have different languages, bro.
Isn't Wanani a song by Willie Paul? Wanani.
Willie Paul had to be.
Oh, that's Bahati. Yeah, Willie Paul.
So my
If we ever
point
interview
is,
Willie Paul, we'll
coming
make
back
fun.
to the number 42
Mm.
is that after the computer told them, hey, the answer is 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. And they're like, we don't understand what the fuck that means. The computer was like, well, you didn't ask the question. So they built a whole other supercomputer, and this one had to be even more complicated than the first, because its task was finding the question to life, the universe, and everything. So later on, they get the question, you can then, cross-reference it to the answer, and finally, like everything makes sense. This was supposed to be even more sophisticated, and it was supposed to take another 10 billion years to build, and it even had organic parts. And that supercomputer was the planet Earth, with humans on it. And so for 10 billion years throughout our evolution and the planet developing and everything, our entire purpose as a race has been to figure out the question to life, the universe, and everything. And in the story, there's a weird twist. So right when one random girl in a coffee shop suddenly gets like a huge epiphany, she's like, oh my god, I know the answer to life, the universe, and everything, the earth gets like demolished, it gets destroyed.
Or she gets run over by a
Because
car.
some other alien race that was trying to build a highway through a super highway,
An expressway.
Space thought the earth was in the way. It's like, yeah, we gotta bulldoze this shit. And that's how the question to life, the universe, and everything was lost to the destruction of the earth. That's the ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
But reeling this back here into the billionaires who died in the ocean.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Ocean.
To the ocean and submarines and billionaires and underage children.
Right.
So what do you guys think in the comments? I think with that we should probably close, but I would like to say...
No, we shouldn't close before this guy tells us about caption.
No, there's a bit more as well. We haven't done our intro, I just realized.
We even haven't done a liquor review.
Wow, we were
Knows
having
what
Jack
the fuck
Daniels.
we're drinking 42 minutes.
But we can do our intro at the end.
Jug Daniels, guys.
We can do our
you
intro
ever
at the
had
end.
keg? Keg is Jug Daniels because it comes in a jug.
Really? Jug Daniels. Oh yeah, I know that joke. It's like the Kikombe.
So we're having Jack Daniels.
Kikombe.
guys. We
So I was
haven't done
like,
that either.
our intro is, this is ThinkShack, I'm Jean, and that's Ramsey. And this is the podcast where we do our intro towards the end of the show.
Because fuck you.
But Clinton can tell
Whoever
us a
you
few
are.
things about whatever he wants to say. What have you been finding, what have you found that's interesting in the world this week?
I've just observed how the aspect of control can be turned on and off at any point.
BDSM, yeah?
It's just
Spanking.
Yeah, control.
Christian Grey.
Choke that neck.
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Gay.
I have a really nice joke, which is like, dogs can't see color. They only see 50 Shades of Grey. Because they see in black and white. There's always some shade of
So
grey.
dogs are
can't
freaky,
see
yeah?
color like we do.
Dogs are freaky. They only see
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey. That's the only thing they
They
watch.
see 50 Shades of
They
Grey.
don't even watch X-Hamster. It's just BDSM. But yeah, so
Samson is definitely in the grey area of what is acceptable sexually. So it's
imagine
50
watching
Shades
black
of
and
Grey.
white porn. That's frustrating. You don't even know what color the panties
Did you
are.
know that's where the name 50 Shades of Grey came from?
From what, porn?
It's because things are either black or white or grey. black being morally unacceptable, white being morally acceptable, and gray is being somewhere in the middle.
What about light
50
skin?
Shades of gray means like we're looking at things sexually that are in the region where like you're not sure whether they're acceptable or unacceptable, and they come in so many different flavors.
I'll tell you what's not a 50 Shades of Grey.
Gray.
If you suck a dick, you're gay.
It's a gray area.
That's not a gray area. That's a black area. It's black or it's white.
What if it's a woman sucking the dick? Is she gay?
Well, if you're a man, okay, let's say if you're a man and you suck a dick, you're gay. Even if it's your own.
What if someone held a gun to your head?
Even if
What
it's
if
your
you're
own.
in jail and they
You're
saw
still
that
gay.
they would fuck you in the asshole if you didn't suck their dick, and you're like, I would rather suck a dick than be fucked in the asshole. I need to survive. Is that still gay?
But sucking a dick takes effort. You have to put your hands on it.
What if this guy
Getting
says,
fucked in
"No,
the ass
I
just
know
takes
you're
a-
not gay, but if you suck my dick, I will give you 15 billion shillings right now.
That's a
No
very rich
questions
gay
asked,
person.
Transfer to your account, and you're like, okay, I'm not gay.
No,
I'm
you're
nowhere
gay.
attached to your dick, but I really need 15 billion.
That's
shillings
gay
right now.
still. You did some gay things to get rich. You're still gay. You can argue that in the comments, but if you do
What if
any
you're in
sucking,
prison and someone forced to suck a dick, like they held
you
your
can never be
hands,
forced to suck a
and they
dick.
took your head,
They can't force your breathing because sucking involves
and then they
breathing.
fucking held your nose so you couldn't breathe.
Well, you don't have to
You
suck.
open your mouth, and then the minute you open it, someone just stuffed a dick in there. Like,
That's a lot of variables. You can still clench your teeth. Yeah? Anything but that. Like, take out my teeth, but I'm not gonna suck anything.
this should be a short.
Yeah, that'll be a long.
I'm that's what he
That's
said.
what she said, yeah.
The gay guy.
This turtle looks like he's running away from the question.
This turtle's like, I'll fly out of here, bitches.
I realized Clinton was saying something about control and we turned it into
You
BDSM.
ever notice how there's such a similarity in the evolution of aquatic beings?
Do you know turtles have large dicks?
Did you know? Okay.
It's really disgusting if you look it up.
Like, wait a minute. This is
Okay.
good. It's a
Sorry.
whole conversation. Let me
Okay.
make my point before you make yours. 'Cause
Alright.
I know we're gonna talk about long and spiral turtle dicks.
Yeah.
That's the turtle dick.
It's horrible.
It's guys. I know it's gonna be weird. Someone in the audience is gonna be like, "What do you mean you see a turtle dick? What were you doing?"
He was looking for it. I mean, you can look for it on the internet.
Like I seen it in a video.
A music video.
A Google search because Jean recommended
Paul
it.
music
The
video.
point I want to say is that Jean was the only one that told me ever Google turtle dick. And never in my life have I been like, let me Google turtle dick. That was the first time ever. It was Jean's fault.
It's because, I'll tell you what. It's because if you Google turtles having sex on YouTube, it's the most hilarious
Why
thing you'll
would
ever
you
see.
ever Google
It's the most hilarious
How
thing you'll
would
ever
you ever
see.
stumble
Because
upon
the male
that
turtle,
particular rabbit hole. Like,
it's not a rabbit hole, it's a
Google how
turtle hole.
turtles have sex.
It's not a rabbit hole, it's a turtle hole. Anyways, so I was saying, it's the funniest thing because the turtle climbs on the female and then goes, so men who are scared to moan and turtles are just going like,
Turtles having sex, so you'll see.
it will make your
Male
day.
Turtle crawls on top of the female and it's fucking.
And that's the male. The female says
What
nothing.
Turtles make, I swear.
Try that during your next BDSM session. Like when you're about to come and like, and you could be talking with so much bass, like, yeah, take that dick. You'll never see that girl again.
But like what I was trying to say, which is a lot more serious and a lot more mature.
About turtle dicks, though?
No, it was about turtle.
Oh, okay,
flippers.
okay,
Like,
alright.
did you notice a similarity in the evolution of aquatic animals with aerial animals in that they both have limbs that look like wings? So like
Oh,
fish
yeah.
have fin and birds have like wings.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole idea is like flapping, like taking a whole scoop of air and just like moving it. It's like that's the exact same way fish swim.
Okay, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration because even in water, it's more like flippers. They're different things.
It's the same thing as wings because that wings are supposed to push air back to.
But even legs are supposed to push the ground back. With that logic, legs are supposed to push the ground back too.
Yeah, but they're not shaped like wings. My point is turtles.
They're technically shaped like wings. You see that?
What kind of fucking wings? It's more acceptable.
No, man.
Like, look at turtle flippers. They look like wings. Like the turtle has wings. In the picture, of
They
the
look
turtle,
like
it looks
boomerangs.
it has wings, right?
What do you think,
And they look
Clinton?
like bird wings.
What do you think?
What I think is that.
Or shark fins.
Let Clinton
you
say what he
look at-
thinks.
When you look at all the organisms, I tend to think they have some sort of one or two similarities, whether in water, whether on ground, or whether in air. Because when you look even from their cell structures, when
Right.
you look at their cross sections, the symmetry, and all
The
this, I
Fibonacci
think-
sequence.
Yes, I think these
What
things are
does
just
the
connected.
Fibonacci sequence have to do with anything?
He's talking about the sequence that's in everything, the design,
Is
the
it the
universal.
official in the structure?
Wait, is it Fibonacci sequence? What is the golden standard?
I mean, it is a sequence, but I just want to like get why you.
Because he's saying because he's saying
randomly threw it in there.
he's saying that everything has a similar structure if you look at the cells, and I'm saying the Fibonacci sequence is that theory that presumes that everything was made during that using that ratio. That ratio. I don't understand what they mean, but it's similar to what he's saying.
It's like, for example, Fibonacci sequence in humans, like the face
Has to be this much larger than
the
whatever.
Fibonacci sequence is a sequence discovered by Leonardo Fibonacci, an Italian mathematician, and you notice that there was a certain pattern, the reproduction pattern of rabbits.
Of course.
So you have one rabbit, and then you get a female one.
Hmm? Not male.
This one was male.
Of course. No gay rabbits.
No gay rabbits. So now you have two rabbits, and then these ones
Straight
fuck,
ones.
and then they get like a little rabbitlet or whatever.
Immediately.
That's 3 rabbits. And then now these ones fuck again and get 2 other rabbits.
Wait.
This is like a real like
Incest.
you're like
It's like the sequence that really happens.
proliferation pattern for rabbits. And you get 2 rabbits.
2, 3.
And then as these ones grow, they're gonna perform a bit of incest, and then they have 3 more rabbits.
Just a little
you have
bit.
8 rabbits, and then so on. 13 rabbits, 21 rabbits, 34 rabbits, and people notice this like also in like a lot of things in nature. So, for example, let's say
Eventually you end up with
the human face. You will find that the length of the face is about the ratio of the length of the face to the width of the face is about 3 to 2.
Yeah, exactly.
3 units versus 2 units. 3 and 2 are Fibonacci numbers.
Mm.
Or if you look at like pineapples have like a system of spirals going down, right? Because little things, right? You find that there are like maybe 13 spirals going down clockwise and 8 spirals going down anti-clockwise. Those are Fibonacci numbers. You go to like sunflowers. Sunflowers have spirals because like there's like a big flower like sesame seed things going around. So the clockwise spirals are usually about 34. The anti-clockwise ones are usually about 21. When you make a building, if you make the facade such that the length of the facade is 3 units versus the width of the facade being 2 units, people tend to go like, oh my god, that's beautiful, I love it. And you see a lot of this in Roman and Greek architecture. They always make sure Fibonacci ratios are respected in that. The shell of a snail, the spiral shell of a snail, follows Fibonacci ratios because the shell can be built by building like squares. So you have like a square 1 unit long, and then another square 1 unit long, and then underneath them a square 2 units long, and then a square here 3 units long, and so on. And then if you draw like a spiral that goes like this, it tends to.
You know they can't see your drawing, right?
Yeah, so guys, go fucking Google it. How to
Yeah.
do Fibonacci spiral. It's all over YouTube. So the spirals tend to follow the full Fibonacci ratio thing, and it's seen in all snails, which seems to be similar to what you're
It's amazing that they saw
galaxies, like the way spiral galaxies go.
The Milky Way.
Fibonacci spirals, the way human face, we find it attractive, and so on and so forth. So people like to claim that the Fibonacci numbers are like, it's like nature's law of the universe or something.
Why is it that all these
thing.
secret things and laws have an Italian name? Illuminati, Fibonacci.
Well,
Spaghetti.
that's a very interesting question, and I actually have a very serious answer, which is that the Renaissance, which is French for rebirth,
Yep.
the period where humans
Renaissance.
finally, after the medieval ages, stopped following the church and started chasing their own interests and being more secular and thinking about philosophy more and religion less, started in Italy.
Qua Itare.
Exactly. Have you ever heard of the Medicis?
Yes, of course. They're the ones who invented money,
Banking
right?
Family, exactly. That sponsored artists the likes of Leonardo da Vinci.
Wait, they didn't invent money.
And like people who triggered the Renaissance off. It all started in Italy, and therefore a lot of Renaissance-related names like Illuminati, meaning the illumination, the lightning, right? Or like Fibonacci.
We should have an Illuminati member come to our show one day.
How do we find them though?
I mean, they're announcing
And how do we find a genuine one? Because a lot of people say Illuminati when all their words wash.
It's bullshit. You know, the funny thing is the people in the hood make it seem like you were so susceptible to getting involved with the Illuminati. They even have cars going around with speakers with selling CDs on how to avoid the Illuminati. It's as if the Illuminati are going around doors like, hey, this is like Jehovah's Witnesses. Kuja ungie Illuminati, takupea $1 million. Like, nobody's doing that. I am not in any way going to interact with the Illuminati in any kind of way.
So,
But we might
this
find
is
a member in
another whole
Kenya.
segment of the show, but like Clinton, you do captioning.
Yeah.
And
For the
one of
Illuminati.
things we said we were going to talk about was like all of the random things you learn as a captioner.
Yeah.
First of all, you could explain exactly what captioning is for the Kenyans who might be looking for online jobs, and then second, just like talk about like some of the random things you learn as a captioner.
Exactly. Let me say captioning. Captioning is basically turning audio to text.
Right.
Yes. For example, because you see our world is full of this inclusion stuff, so
Mhm.
we need at least to include some of the people with several disabilities who
Mhm.
also can't hear.
Right.
They need to see captions and maybe subtitles.
Subtitles, that's what most
Right.
people know them as.
In some of the movies they see, in some of the videos they see, education
Porn.
material, all this.
There's even porn, by the way. Because I've done captioning too.
Captioning
Yeah.
porn.
There's adult
Holy
caption.
grail. Imagine reading a porn.
It's a bit too hard though.
Like,
Like,
and you touched her.
but you will get your book wet. Eventually,
How?
when you're touching yourself while reading, because you read with your hands, right?
Yeah, but you're touching the book.
That's like a DJ. Like
Unless
you have to have skills.
Like touching the book and then
Yeah.
And then-
Do they know where it is?
where the book is.
They probably don't know what a dick looks like. So how do you describe
They
it?
know how it feels.
They might draw a
It's
hammer.
like if I don't know what a dick looks like, but if you let me hold it, I'll recognize.
That's a nice pickup line
That's
for a
what
blind girl.
person would
That's a
say.
nice
It's like,
pickup line for a
I
blind
have no
girl.
idea what a dick looks like, but let me hold it.
But let me find out what yours
Yes,
looks
it's a
like.
dick.
Yes.
This is a carrot.
Yes.
This is a dick.
Can I compare? And then
But
you
if
go
show
home,
them
do
a
some weird
carrot
shit.
and a dick, they wouldn't know from the vision which one is a carrot and which one is a dick. They can only know by holding it. You ever notice that, for example, this is actually like a popular experiment where
With dicks
like,
and carrots?
Yeah, no, it's like from the 18th century or something. This guy said that like
I should
perception
let you
is so
touch my
much
dick.
later our experience. Like if you take a blind person and you let them hold a sphere,
Huh, of
and
course.
you let them hold a cube, they will learn how each feels.
Mm.
If one day they gain their sight and then you show them a cube and a sphere, like the pictures of the two, they can't tell you which is
Which is which? They don't
They
know.
can't tell you the cube. Oh, that one is the cube. That
Yeah.
one is, unless they hold it.
That's very
so.
nice.
Like it's quite possible for a blind person to only know how a carrot and a dick are distinct from touching them, but never from seeing them.
So they might go
That
shopping.
looks like the-
They might go shopping when they get their eyesight back. They might go shopping and see a bunch of cucumbers and be like, "Oh my god, look at all these dicks!"
Look at all these dicks. It's
Getting
amazing.
ideas,
You
yeah.
remember like we were talking about like David and
Transitioning from dicks to David.
yeah, like how he says like every morning I pass by
This beautiful
one of the
house.
most beautiful houses I've seen. The guy is blind. Like
How does he know they're
says
beautiful?
that. And we asked him one day, why do you say one of the most beautiful houses? How can you know the house is beautiful?
You don't know what
haven't
beauty
seen it."
is.
And he says, well, because I have hung out with people who see so long, I kind of like figure out what words have impact on them. And you guys like to use adjectives like beautiful and ugly, so I use them so that you can feel like
comfortable.
I fit in. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
true because I didn't know he was blind
Me neither.
until he told me he was blind.
But for the
Because
people
we
who are
used to
hearing
have
impaired,
conversations on Zoom calls.
so captioning is more for people with impairments like those, like
Like
hearing impairment.
hearing impairments.
Yeah.
So that's basically the function of functioning for captioning and transcription. Basically, to include the people who have several
Right.
disabilities to be able to fit in the society.
It's
And
be-
also
it's becoming a
like
bit more
people
popular in
watching
Kenya.
Chinese movies.
Yeah, let's DJ further. It's becoming a lot more popular in Kenya as a freelancing avenue.
Yeah, many people, as you all know, the 8 to 5s are very few nowadays. So to some extent, it helps the.
If you go by employment statistics in Kenya, you might think that most Kenyans just hanging around in the house doing nothing,
Yeah.
looking forward to their next starvation or whatever.
yeah,
But a lot of Kenyans doing informal jobs that are neither documented nor taxed. Like
Yeah.
random people on your WhatsApp status selling clothes and shoes and bed sheets.
They don't tax.
We
They
have a lot
don't
of
submit
the
those to
informal
tax.
economy in Kenya is huge. A lot of people have like ways to make money and they're not paying any taxes because
Yeah.
they're not salaried.
So you wonder when people complain about the government stealing. It's not like they're stealing. They're not even stealing your shit.
You and I, Jean.
Yeah, we're technically employed. We're just jobless bums.
No, we're really unemployed.
Jobless
Like,
bums.
We're not just technically unemployed, we're also.
In fact, we don't even exist.
we don't exist.
No returns all day.
I don't even have a job, bro.
Yeah.
I literally just clean people.
We literally do vocal prostitution. What we do is like live phone sex.
Vocal
It's like phone sex.
prostitution sounds like when a woman sounds like phone sex.
That's exactly what we do.
Vocal prostitution is phone sex. Oh my god.
Yeah. We should start a business for vocal prostitution.
Vocal prostitution should be on.
We'll sell out. Yeah, exactly. That sounds interesting.
Anyway, so
Back to the-
captioning. What does it entail?
Well, he already said what it does entail, but
yeah.
what is
But give
what is
us,
the
like,
work week?
I want like more
Work week.
details on, for example, what's a typical captioning project like?
Ah,
for
good,
you?
good,
What are
good.
you doing?
For example, many projects in captioning are always maybe education oriented, lectures oriented, and maybe some sort of government related sort of seminars.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the kind of videos that you always get when it comes to captioning, because they prioritize matters like education and government issues. So those are the kind of
Right.
videos or kind of content you might
So
find.
your
Yeah.
job is to listen to the video
Yes.
and then write real life subtitles
Yes,
for it.
yes, yeah,
Just to add to his point,
And
something
sometimes
interesting.
You have to find, like, sometimes it's really difficult to translate one language directly into another.
No, you don't have to translate. You don't. It's more just like putting down what you hear.
Yeah.
It's the same language. It's different from translation.
Oh, okay. So if it's English, you're captioning in English for an English video.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
To add to his point, there was something interesting about captioning. He mentioned the types of work you get in Kenya typically, but there's some interesting ones where you sit into private meetings that are supposed to be super hush hush. Like I remember sitting in on a meeting for GSK where they were talking about potential vaccines before they even came out, AstraZeneca and everything. So you get an
so
inside
you
look.
heard about this shit
Yeah.
before it was a thing.
Like in 2019, maybe like November-ish or something like that.
Was the coronavirus already an outbreak? At
In
that time?
China, and this
Was
were
it- I remember the coronavirus became an outbreak in October or November 2019. Before in 2020, by around February, it had spread to the US, and then in Kenya by March or April, we started having curfews. So it like just like went like in a bit of a network.
a bit of a spiral.
And you're telling me you heard about this shit before it was
Yeah,
being announced?
yeah, but I didn't care about it because the media wasn't hyping it up, which ties into what we were saying
Oh my
about how the
God.
media gives
so
things
what did you
important.
hear in some of this?
They're just
How
talking
can
about
they
the
sign
stage.
an NDA.
No, I did,
I'd
but
love to hear
but you
this
don't know what company it is, so they won't know if it's
Fuck
me.
them.
They've never heard my voice. They only know me by my government name, and that's it.
shit. Right.
So they won't even know.
Which we are definitely not.
So basically, they were talking about the stages of clinical testing that their particular drug was at. I think it was GSK. So.
GlaxoSmithKline.
Yeah, they talk about what stage of testing their particular vaccine was at, and also how they were going to potentially make shortcuts in have been bringing it to market, despite it not clearing all the full tests.
Right.
So you could have learned about that before. It's only that you didn't really care while you were doing it because it's quite
That reminds
exhausting.
me of a
It's a lot of work.
conversation we had in like a previous episode. I don't remember what episode, but remember when we were talking about gain of function research?
That was with
Like
episode
when
12.
you have a particular kind of bacterium or virus, and then by manipulating its DNA,
Super gonorrhea.
you give it, yeah, exactly, super gonorrhea. You give it like added abilities, right?
Superpowers.
It gains function.
It gains
a gain of-
superpowers.
Yeah, a gain of function research. And the idea behind coronavirus, because it's a variant of the flu family, is that it may have been manufactured in a laboratory, right? So there's gain of function research happening to give coronavirus a more resistant like cell membrane with corona means crown, FYI. And it's because
It has nothing to do with the beer, by the way.
protrudings around the cell membrane of the coronavirus that allow it to like stick to human cells so well, you know?
We should review Corona beer at some point, by the way. Corona beer in one of our
I've never
reviews.
drunk it.
I don't know if it's in Kenya, but it looks like it should taste good.
It really used to be popular it's a Mexican beer. It used to
Yeah.
in the US as soon as the coronavirus became
Either that or it'll make you sick. I don't know. So what's the craziest thing you've ever captioned? What kind of video was it that like was you were like, oh, this is some wild shit?
There's some time back sometimes you see we have low and high seasons. Sometimes there are many lectures, many seminars, many videos to transcribe and caption. But sometimes you see during the low months, that's when you get this wrestling video. So translating
WWE.
video is very, very difficult. Especially WWE. Or sometimes you can get music.
If you
Right.
some
Itself.
Right.
is inaudible,
People who are
retarded.
disabled, maybe people with
Yep.
autism,
Well, I used the wrong
people
word.
who are, let me say,
Autistic.
autistic, all these people.
Right.
Yeah, they sing and you have to transcribe.
There's a lot of Kenyan musicians who sound autistic. We're not gonna mention who.
That's true.
Not Willie Paul.
No, not really,
sure.
Paul. Paul's there. It's a reflection of sickness.
Maybe they are Bahati.
Oh my God! He said that with his chest. He said that outright.
Oh my God!
Diana
This
B.
is like one of those like Kevin Hart shows. Like,
Oh my God! No, my
Joe,
God!
shut the
No.
fuck up!
Well,
With Hamawan and Toli.
well. My one and only.
Photograph of
It's supposed to be called My One and Only.
and Diana B.
There's that much shadiness in one picture.
No, like she's holding him against the wall, so he's like this.
Pose.
And then she's holding him. No,
She's in his
Diana
pose.
Bahati.
Oh, Bahati. Okay.
His wife.
Oh, I thought it was really Paul and Diana. That would be an
Bahati
implosion.
And her wife, who is Bahati. Anyway, he's like Diana B. He's the wife. And Bahati
Isn't she like
husband.
40?
But it's hard to tell, is what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like he's just holding him against the wall. It's like you're like it's
Holding
a
him against
romantic pose.
What the fuck? How is it romantic?
I know.
What kind of Kama Sutra is that?
He looks like a he's the feminine one in this
He
relationship.
probably gets 96th. He doesn't do 69.
But all that BS, I think it's for just clout chasing.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
They just want public attention.
Even that shit.
So
really.
WWE is really difficult to capture.
Very
is what
difficult.
Where?
In a WWE, you can get the EPL games.
Those are the worst.
20-minute long.
Listening to Peter.
But it makes you wonder who is getting this captioned. Isn't that copyright infringement?
What do you mean?
You're doing work for I don't know, people who are scammers. I don't know. Copyright infringement. Because why are you
captioning copyright infringement?
No, why are you transcribing it? Well, the match already happened. It's probably to be watched on some bootleg shit.
Or for people who have like some kind of
People who have some issues, they can watch it live still.
No, but like a blind
But you
person
see,
can't
a
watch
sound
it.
and understanding is a plus.
And a deaf person can't listen to it, so they need the captioning.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think it's still important because it's just like about inclusivity for people with disabilities.
What would you never caption? What would you be like? No, that's too much. I'm not interested in that at all.
I don't think maybe an inaudible video, but all these other things we are there to capture.
Even an Illuminati video,
Right.
If they come,
you wouldn't be scared of getting
It all
Illuminatified.
boils down to the money.
No, but it's like being brainwashed. The person who has to caption it will get brainwashed in the process.
I don't think so.
You'll get Illuminatized.
You are there
You
for
get
money.
eliminated.
You get illuminated. Kamulikwa was it?
I don't think there's a problem with that because once at least you know both sides
Illuminati.
of the coin, you can know when things are going haywire and you can know when things are going right. So if you want to be illuminated, you'll be illuminated.
If you want to be in the dark, you stay in the dark.
To the other side of the right people, you can stay.
The LGBT. All right, so I think we should. Let's wrap it up with sure condoms.
I actually enjoyed it.
It was quite nice. Yeah. Cheers, guys. We'll see you in the next one. This has been ThinkShack. By the way, we have to drop some ideas that we've been having just to get people excited, get you a bit more excited than you normally are. We're planning on switching to video. So if there's any ideas, any concepts you like,
balaclavas
and some hats,
you know, 'cause
get a whole
it's
set.
not going to show you our faces, so we'll like find some kind of.
That's going to be on the OnlyFans
Yeah.
for like, I don't know, 200
For fans.
only for fans. Anyways, so we'll be switching to video progressively. Let us know what ideas you'd like for the set or for our clothes, and then that will mean
I
that
already have a piece of artwork I want to put in the background.
yeah, we're not going to tell you everything, but we're going to surprise you because it's going to be legendary. So this is coming soon,
Right.
and we hope to have you all as we transition
Yeah.
into transgenders. This has been ThinkShack. See you on the next one.
Bye bye.
This has been Ramsey
This is Jean.
and
Clinton.
Bill Clitoris.
Clitoris.
Bill Clinton.
All right,
All right. Cheers, guys.